Today, you're watching a man on a mission, traveling tens of thousands of meters all across the SMP world in preparation for the greatest fight of our LEGO Fortnite lives. The Storm King is here. Welcome to episode 4 of the LEGO SMP. Almost 10,000 seeds, maybe even a little bit more. I didn't really do the math. I have to collect kind of fast because some of this disappears. There's a weird little thing going on, but I still get a ton of essence every time I farm this and then head on over to the Colombo Lake and then feed Colombo. And that's exactly what we're doing over and over and over again. We're grinding down seeds and bringing the seeds over to the lake. This is one of my favorite things to do for Essence now, just because of how fast it actually is. So all I do is I take a nice little stroll on over to my little launch system. I make sure to step on the button to activate the windmill every single time. The geyser brings me exactly to the lake. And from there, I just go ahead and feed Mama Colombo all that she can eat, just basically throwing the pineapples and all of the seeds at her. And she gives me plenty in return. We filled up with about 200-300 essence on this trip, but we actually fed her all of the mahogany and stuff back. We grind it down till it's really only gold. That way we're also making money from this method, so a nice source of income. So we're getting essence, money, as well as a food source here and a nice trade partner with Lulu's farm. Really a great accomplishment getting this built, and we're gonna need it a lot because the Storm King's coming and we've got a lot to do leading up to this massive update on Tuesday. We're going to be journeying to the middle area of the mainland, just north of the middle sea that we have right here. We have one way over and in. Although it is made of sand right here, there is no waterway. We have a plan that we can execute and a build that we can throw down that can transport boats from one side of the water to the other. So I really hope that it works out. We've got some big plans for that, as well as a Federal Reserve or the Canopy Server Bank. We'll be working on coastal cities here back at the OG Treehouse and Fishing Village. There's gonna be a lot of new stuff in old places, so stick around. I stream this just about every single day on my channel. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed and turn on those noties. So we're back to it, just traveling back and forth. I want to remind you guys, I'm using the throwing spear and the knockback shield for my weapons class inside of the SMP. So I just want to make sure that I'm nice and stocked up for this little trip. I'm gonna need a couple of each tool and weapon. That way I don't have to come back to the Lost Isles. We are gonna be about 5,000 to 10,000 meters away at any given time, and I'm trying not to use the fast travel system as much. So I'm going back and forth between Colombo Lake and the Essence Tower, upping my weapons. And once I do that, it's back to the Nana Village to up on a little bit of food, make sure that I can feed myself while I'm doing any of the build projects or while I am out at sea, because this is going to be a long trip. So I head on over to the bar and grill. I start cooking some spicy burgers. I head on over to the juice bar and I grab some chillberry shakes, and I start sitting there and waiting for the burgers. And I realized it was going to take a long time, so I decided just to sit down on the beach with some friends and start some music, start dancing. Okay, so nobody really joined us, but we danced long enough for those spicy burgers to finish. It was now time to say our final goodbyes to Nana Village. And this is the last time we're gonna see the Nana Village for a while. So our story is taking us elsewhere for the time being, as we're heading back to the mainland. Again, big shout out to Trillin making this quest possible by crafting this boat. We'll also be using this for our first campaign. I'm super excited, but let's try to get out of here quick. Let's set sail and head out. we've got a long ways to go, guys. Traveling from the Lost Isles all the way into what I'm calling the Middle Sea. There's a lot to explore in there, and there's a lot of OG builds to repair and get to. So we make our way, finding a lot of cool stuff along the way. Also getting our boat stuck in the shallows as we were not navigating very well. We also found ourselves trying to get up a waterfall. For some reason, we thought that this might lead into the sea as well. It did not. So we had to turn around and find our way to that point that connects the ocean to the sea. We eventually found it. And once we got there, we did realize that, yeah, there's no water. Luckily, though, Trillin's boat was able to scrape across the sand and make it across. Tons of mobs in the area trying to chomp at my ship, but we were able to make it over into the other side and get it into the sea. But that's not gonna do. We're gonna get that fixed later on. I wanted to stop on over at the OG airstrip, but we got jumped by a bear the second that we docked our ship. So I decided, you know, we can leave for now, but I just wanted to take a look at the docking station for the cable car. It's a project that we will be getting done in this video. It's a mile long and I am excited to ride it again. But for now, we're going to finish this quest. It's been a long journey, well over 10,000 meters traveled already. And we needed to get to the far eastern side of the sea, which we did, and we found out that it doesn't connect to the ocean. So we turned around, and on the way back, we found some stormtroopers fighting some pirates, which is crazy to say, but we stole one of the E11 blasters and took it to the pirates' heads. After that, you know, it's time. Like, we got to stop procrastinating and get back to the project. So we moved to that point where the sea touches the ocean. We skimmed across the sand one more time, parked the boat, got the supplies that we wanted to grab, and we went straight into building our new desert home. My first ever house in the desert, and I'll be staying here while I develop all of my projects around the Middle Sea. But for now, let's get to that interior. Shortly after building my house, I also built like a treasure and storage room. I discovered that there were a lot of enemies around, and not just the small guys. Yeah, I'm talking about you. There were even some larger ones nearby, so I sat down and I formulated a plan. And that's when I heard some rumbling nearby, so we went to take a look. Saw a crab outside, and just over the ridge there was a desert brute, and not just any brute, but a storm wild one. We turned those on in our regular survival world just to spice things up a bit, but we're gonna have to build some sort of defense here, or a wall, something that's gonna be a little bit more structurally sound and resistant to damage. So we'll plan that out later. I'm actually gonna go back over to the cable car, and we're gonna work on that project because we actually know how we want to approach that one, and we're not here to waste any time. So I go and land on the docks, and immediately we are wasting time. I head on over to the OG treehouse base, the one that I threw on top of the cave, and I'm looking at this cave in particular because I want a bank like that is styled like Gringotts Bank, like down in the cave, where we have like a mine cart or some sort of coaster that weaves in between the cave and the tunnels. And then there's going to be vaults where everyone on the SMP can have their own. But while I was traveling and looking and kind of scouting out the cave itself, I found Beck Pira taking on a group of skellies, so I asked her to join me in my adventure. I didn't realize that there was a chat glitch here, but I would soon realize that something funky was going on, so I was in my menu, and Beck Pira did come to the rescue. She would join me on the rest of this episode. She was great. I did have to let her go at some point, but every once in a while, it's nice to bring them with me. I exited the cave because I thought maybe that was causing the issue, and I went back into the cave, and I found out that it was still happening because we found another villager and we tried to talk to them, and I couldn't find any chat lines. So I decided to just leave the world and rejoin. But when I came back, I don't even know what this is, guys. What is this?
20 billion.
I need to focus. Start with this cable car, all right? We'll get this finally done, even though it does take multiple tries, multiple carts falling to the ground, pieces flying to the sky. No, what was I thinking? And multiple carts that just wouldn't even move. But eventually we were able to figure out a way to get the mechanism to actually work nicely on the rail. And then we built the cart after doing the mechanism with the tires, dropped it down, and that seemed to work pretty well. We tested it out going all the way to the Frostlands and all the way back. It worked nicely. We replaced that gross roof with a nicer one on top, and here we are. My favorite part about doing this is seeing some of the stuff that I've built along the way, like looking at the treehouse and the village and seeing the station from a ways away, as well as like when I'm going up to the top of the mountain. It is really cool being able to see all that stuff. We took some people out on a ride. I was giving tours out, so we got to give Creative a ride on the rail, and we also got to give Charisse as well as Llama Rage a ride on the cable car. So this was really cool, a really cool experience. I ran back and forth at least 10 times with people and myself, and then the testing I went back and forth about 5 times. So all in all, we were well over 15,000 meters traveled with just the cable car alone. Now that the car is operational, it's time to go back to the shore and get onto the pirate ship. We've got a lot to do still. We have to acquire a ton of flexwood and granite because we've got to build this passageway between the sea and the ocean. So it's time to get back on the ship, go back to the bus station 13, or the desert home as I like to call it. We're immediately just gonna start throwing down granite, creating a passageway that is wide enough for the boat to slip in, but then also placing some tires along the wall so that the boat can rest on top of them and just use the thrusters that are already on the boat to glide across these simple tires. Pretty easy, right? Yeah, it is pretty easy. And this went up relatively quick. It just was about getting enough flexwood and flexwood rod. I was only able to take so much from the world storage before I had to get some for my own. And to do that, we went ahead and built a new vehicle of our own. I call this thing the Mouse. It's tiny, it's compact, we've got a nice chest on the back, it turns extremely fast. And using this, I'm going to be able to weasel around the desert and go where I need to go without flying or having to, use the boat to get there. After that, it was a breeze getting the material that I needed. So we went and built the rest of the line, even adding a layer of red rock on the edge because there's brutes out here and I need a little bit more protection. I'm even going to need a little bit more than the walls that we've built already. But for now, this is gonna be good for the episode. I'll build a cannon tower some other day. I went ahead and tested the line. I'm telling you guys, over 200 tires easily on this. Think about the auto farm earlier. We've been doing massive projects in terms of having a lot of small items being placed, but back and forth on the line, this is working perfectly with the pirate ship. I could even fit a little bit of a larger ship on here probably. We'll do a stress test, but for now, we've got the ocean connected to the sea, so that officially makes us the master of the seas. We have completed our task for the day, going thousands of meters by boat and by rail car. We've connected all the large bodies of water, which is perfect because our next build project is going to be on the Middle Sea. We're building a blacksmith and we got to get it done quick because everything's going to change. I'm going to need a spot to get weapons. I've already got everything else set up, but I'm going to be going on a journey because Fortnite is getting a massive update tomorrow. Check out this video. We will be live often for the foreseeable future, as well as posting daily content on everything that there is to know about this brand new update. New builds, new mobs, new weapons, new places to see. LEGO Fortnite Odyssey, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 4 of the LEGO Fortnite Canopy SMP. YouTube thinks you'll like this video as well, so if you want to watch some more content from me, consider clicking on that as well as subscribing and turning on those noties so you never miss another moment. Take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.